Good afternoon. Welcome to City Council meeting. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. It's approximately 1 p.m. I am Mayor Eric Enriquez. Before we start, I want to mention that we have the ASL, American Sign Language, up in the front as interpreters available at every City Council meeting. If you please stand, we'll start with a moment of silence for the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces as they protect our interests around the globe, as well as our courageous men and women of the Las Cruces Police and the Fire Department. Councilor Bencomo, if you lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda, we have presentations or proclamations. We have no proclamations, but we have what we have now on our agenda is departmental highlights. We're going to start out with airport with a departmental highlight. So that's you, Blake. Yeah, we'll start out with your airport highlight. You're on.
Hi, good afternoon. Blake Davenport. I'm the interim airport director. I can barely read it. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, councilors. Again, so my name is Blake Davenport. I'm your interim airport director. The little map up here, if I want to orient you to it, we basically have two primary runways at the airport. 1230, that is your kind of top to bottom. It's green. It's about 3 or 4 years old. It's in very good shape. Since we've been up here, we've done quite a bit of pre-maintenance on it. It's probably got about another 15-year useful life, and it's in good shape. If you see the yellow line parallel with that northwest to southeast line, that's your taxiways. They're yellow. That basically annotates that the condition of those the taxiways are not as good, but still quite serviceable. So we do routine maintenance on those as well, including just daily inspections. We do have future plans to improve the yellow taxiways, probably over the next couple of years, that'll improve those to a green status. And then the rest you see is in red. And so this kind of parallels exactly what we do with all of the streets, where we do an annual assessment of the condition of the runways, taxiways, and apron. If it's red, it means it's reached the end of its useful life. So the red at the bottom there is runway 826. It has not been it has not been reconstructed in roughly 25 years. So it's at the end of its useful life. So we took core samples on 826 about 2 weeks ago. I should get the results from those in the next few weeks. And as we get those results in, that'll kind of drive how we're going to rebuild the runway. We think it's about, it's in today's dollars, if things stay stable, it's about $10.5 million project. I would invite anybody who desires, you're free to come up to the airport. I love giving tours. We very much now have a very open door policy, so we encourage anybody to come up and check the place out. Right, it's in a lot of ways, this is a very capital intensive department, even though there's only about 5 of us that work up there. And I think in general, it's hard for me to kind of describe in just slides and stand here and talk to you about what an investment and the opportunities and the challenges we have up there. But if you want to come up, I'll give a plug for the barbecue. It's very good. Our office is right by there. You just make a right. The door's always open. And I'm happy to throw you in a truck and we'll go out and drive the airport and show you around. It's very nice. That's really all I have. Any questions?
No, that's good, Blake. Thank you. Thank you for the departmental update and then for the invitation.
Thanks.
And we appreciate that. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have a highlight from Parks and Rec, Stephen Bingham.
Mayor, Council, Stephen Bingham, Parks and Rec Director, as mentioned. Just wanted to highlight a few upcoming registrations. It's just a few of the upcoming ones. We have a baseball camp that we'll be offering and a STEM camp, half-day camps, 17th through the 19th. The registration opens tomorrow at 9 a.m. We also have our second session of the year of swim lessons, March 23rd through April 2nd. That registration is opening March 14th until full. There's about 120 slots in that. We also have a hiking series that is open right now. We also have our Keepless Cruces beautiful dumpster days coming up on Saturday 21st. From 8 to noon, free disposal of household trash, yard waste, and other permissible items. It'll be at Apodaca Park, Young Park, East Mesa Recreation Center. And we want to report that the elevator was repaired finally over the weekend and is up and running again. And we are also working on a replacement of the pump on the warm water pool, which had previously been replaced with a repaired pump and it went down. We have a contractor on site that they're doing some tests. They believe the original pump that was put in was wrong sized, and when the replacement was put in, it failed. And so they're evaluating that, and we'll get a new part ordered.
All right, thank you, Steve. Next, we have Pets of the Week. Carol?
Good afternoon. I'm Carol Nelson, Digital Content Specialist with the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. This week, our dog of the week is Harvest, 82251. I'm an overall happy-go-lucky guy who loves adventures. You'll often find me at the front of my kennel, hoping for some love and attention. While I can get a bit excited during walks, I'm actually quite calm when I settle down. I'm a true people pup and love meeting new friends. I'm also pretty smart. I know how to sit and take treats politely, and I learn quickly. I would thrive in a home that can provide a little behavioral training. If you're looking for a loyal companion who adores belly rubs and is always ready for fun, I'd love to meet you. And this week, our cat of the week is Mia, 99771. I just arrived at the shelter this last week. I started off shy, hiding in the back of my kennel, but I've shown progress. I no longer retreat and have begun to relax around staff. This new place has been a bit overwhelming for me. Currently, I'm not the type to rush to people, and also, I'm getting to where I won't run away either. I need a calm, understanding household that can help me learn what love feels like again. With patience, I can become a loyal companion. Together, we can take small steps toward building trust. And as always, we like to highlight our long-term residents. This week, it's gonna be a little bit longer, so please bear with me. So Hulu. Our longest term resident, unfortunately, was recently euthanized, and is part of the reason why we highlight our long-term residents, because the longer an animal stays in shelter, the more likely they are to decline behaviorally, which happened with Hulu. We do want to note that we do have a new director who is committed to helping animals, especially behavioral animals, so that we can try to avoid euthanasia where possible. And also, there's only so much we can do if people aren't coming to adopt our long-term residents, because ultimately that will be the best solution for them. So we're sad for Hulu. So, and also we want to turn our attention to our other long-term residents, Farah, who has been with us 348 days, Lily, 306 days, Rosa, 274 days. And so all really good options for adoption. So please take time to look at our long-term residents when you come in. Our upcoming events this Saturday, we will be at Petco from 10 to 1. And then we actually have a new location. March 14th, we're going to be out in Hatch at the Village Hardware from 10 to 1. So please come by, especially the residents out in the county that can't always make it down to Las Cruces. For more information, feel free to visit our website or follow us on social media. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Next, we have a special guest today. We have Dr. Sabina Hirschauer. If you want to come up, and your students as well. They're honor students from NMSU, from the Department of Government, and they are also the Democracy Seminar Group. And we want to get a photo, but if Dr. Hirschauer, if you don't mind coming to the podium and kind of telling us a little bit about your program, or you can volunteer one of your students.
Is that on? Yes. Well, so it was kind of my idea, and Councillor Corin was so kind to shepherd us through this council session. But what the seminar is all about is democracy in the local, and what it means for real people in real places. So we just wanted to watch you today. So how you do politics, but in a good way, not sometimes what we see, in national news, not necessarily in, some of this. So we just want you to see how you work with democracy in the local and how you make people's lives better. So this is all. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Welcome again. Thank you. Next, we have the conflict of interest. Does any member of the city council, city manager, or any member of the city staff have any known conflict of interest with any item on the agenda?
None.
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 None. No conflict.
Next, we have the public participation. We'll allow up to 3 minutes, no pending litigation or items on non-consent. If you just speak clearly into the microphone, state your name, and you'll have 3 minutes. And Katrina will be up here to usher you to the podium. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, Council, those here today, those watching online, I'm Lynn Moorer. At the last meeting, Assistant Utilities Director Carl Clark stated the city's drinking water sampling had never identified any lead level exceedances that he knew of. He also said with respect to sampling associated with the city's 2024 Consumer Confidence Report, quote, "Our water is at 2 parts per billion," close quote. Handout 1 shows that in fact things are not that rosy. Our water is actually 4 times higher. 3 homes tested in August 2024 in the Las Cruces municipal water system were 8, 6, and 3 parts per billion respectively. All are under the current action level of 15 parts per billion, but Mr. Clark mischaracterized this key health information. The record shows the city does not test drinking water each year for each of the city's 5 water systems, contrary to what Mr. Clark stated. This important fact becomes clear when you compare the sampling results of the CCR reports. Indeed, the city did no sampling at all in 2019 or 2022. Handout 2 shows the timing of sampling and the numerous gaps in the reports. This led to the discovery that the city published false information regarding sampling results in the Las Alturas water system. The 2024 CCR for the Las Alturas system, which just repeated the numbers from 2023 because no new sampling was done in 2024, falsely claimed that no samples exceeded the action level. In fact, one sample pulled in 2023 showed 24 parts per billion and another 18 parts per billion, both well above the action level of 15. See handout 1. The CCR also falsely claimed that despite these 2 exceedances, 90th percentile compliance was achieved. This is saying that 90% of the samples were compliant. In reality, those 2 exceedances brought the overall compliance below 90%. Thus, the drinking water in the Las Alturas system was non-compliant in 2023 and 2024. This was hidden from the public. There are also falsehoods in the 2020 CCRs, which I don't have time to spell out now. What Mr. Clark did not say is that the action level will decrease from 15 parts per billion to 10 parts per billion as of November 1st, 2027. Las Cruces Utilities is now operating on a less strict standard. While this may be lawful at present, it is considered inadequate. That's why the water testing standard was strengthened, which does not affect the lead and copper rule requirements for competent inspections, honest notices about findings, lead and galvanized pipe removal, and publication of a full and accurate inventory. Lead and galvanized pipes must come out regardless of any test results, and the public must be truthfully and completely informed in a timely manner. In light of copious false characterizations and huge gaps in sampling, I have no real confidence in the city's so-called consumer confidence reports. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Mayor, City Council, I'm Liz Rodriguez Johnson. It looks more and more like Las Cruces Utilities never intended to uphold its promise to put disadvantaged properties first. A promise made to obtain $15 million in funding to implement the federal lead and copper rule. It appears that the department may have sought and obtained the $15 million under false pretenses. What's clear is that the Utilities Department doesn't have its priorities straight. The first handout for you relates what should be happening. The second, third, and fourth handouts relate to what should be happening. The first handout relates to what should not be happening. The second, third, and fourth relate to what should be happening. The first week of November, city inspectors spent the majority of their time and resources inspecting properties that are not disadvantaged. Of 10, 42 inspections, or 24%, were for disadvantaged properties. The first week of December, the imbalance was much higher. Only one property of 28 inspected, or 4% of of the total was for disadvantaged properties. Handout A shows the estimated valuation for the non-disadvantaged properties that inspectors examined during these 2 weeks. Their devotion of time inspecting these generally higher value properties that are not designated disadvantaged violates the city's promise made when asking for the $15 million and violates public trust. Instead of inspecting a property valued at more than $465,000 on Cheyenne Court and its neighboring 400,000 properties, utilities inspectors should be inspecting all the properties listed in Handout B. These truly disadvantaged properties have estimated values of less than $100,000. This adds to the list of less than $100,000 properties provided at the last meeting. We urge utilities management to direct inspectors to check out these obviously low-income properties post-haste. When all the inspection for these properties are completed, Las Cruces utilities inspectors should work on the properties in disadvantaged neighborhoods with the estimated value of less than $200,000 as helpfully listed in Handout C. It's both unjust and dishonest to prioritize non-disadvantaged properties for inspection over these genuinely disadvantaged ones. Finally, before even one more property valued at $300,000 is high or higher is inspected, absent an overriding reason, every one of the properties on Handout D, which shows yet another mobile home community without water hookups and which doesn't appear in the inventory, along with every single property on Handout C provided at the last meeting, should be inspected and added to the map and inventory. The city continually fails to include these lower income folks on the map or in the inventory or even acknowledge their existence. This is obvious and it's also cruel. So maybe cruelty is the point.
Chris Apodaca, talent agent, impresario, film and television, mayor, pro tem, council members, Chief Story, Chief Daniels. I was thinking, I've given you information on myself, my background. You really can't put what I do on a resume. I just saw a movie called Air with Matt Damon, and that's kind of what I do. Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, instead of sports agent, film and TV actors. You all know that I've been around for a long time in the industry, close to 40 years as a professional in the big leagues, in the show, in the majors. Not many people have had the opportunities that I have, and I've been truly blessed, and I'm grateful for the things that I've done in my career and look forward to many years still. When I was in Hollywood 14 years ago, I was thinking, I'd like to go to Las Cruces maybe and get something going, see what I can develop. So I kind of followed you for about a year, 4 years, and eventually moved here to be with my mother, who's since passed. And I have family here. That's why I choose to live here, as well as I was born here. This is home. And I love the Mexican food. Can't beat it. It's best in the world. There are a lot of big fish in this town, or actually a few big fish, and a lot of little fish that think they're big fish. They need to swim upstream to the ocean. That's where the whales are, meaning the studios and the money. You need to get up there and give it a shot and see how you do. It's a whole different experience. There was somebody that spoke here a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about the competition in the city and all of this, and I just don't get that. It's ridiculous. You shouldn't have competition here. You have 14 other states doing what you're doing, plus California, and no one's working together. I had a lot of information on myself. The countdown. See ya. Any questions? I'll see you next time.
Mayor, Councilor Juan Garcia. Thank you, Councilor Harris, for providing the update on flock. I recognize your concerns, yet it's important to assess questions based on facts and overall impact to the community rather than focusing on particular, quote, affected groups. Credit to District Attorney Macias for the convictions of 2 of the killers responsible for the Young Park massacre. Hope they are done destroying lives. The question is, why weren't laws with real deterrents, real consequences not enacted that could have possibly prevented this tragedy? Look at the price in blood and potential monetary costs to the city over inaction. And I quote, guilty under depraved mind murder, determining that Nathan Rivas' actions showed, and I quote, a total and deadly indifference to the value of human life. I have been saying this time and time again. The reason people kill is because life doesn't matter. And I'll repeat it. Total and deadly indifference to the value of human life. We see this often in Las Cruces. The subject of using GRT revenues on quality of life or public safety was recently discussed in these chambers. Nice to have parks, unless families are afraid to use them due to the out-of-control crime. In my opinion, pushback against public safety isn't about fiscal priorities. It's about hostility towards law enforcement. That sentiment is voiced by many of our friends on the left and members of the Las Cruces anti-police group. The leader, who is a self-proclaimed anarchist, claimed they were, quote, being insinuated as a part of something organized. During public comments, a speaker warned that the same leader is part of highly organized groups that coordinate efforts to stack local meetings. The leader was credited with busing in over 250 people from El Paso, Silver City, and Albuquerque to sway a public event. That's pretty impressive. No doubt those buzzed were, quote, unpaid, concerned citizens. This same leader tried to team up with LCPS board member Patrick Nolan to stack a book review board when we advocated for measures on handling age-inappropriate books in libraries. And in our upside-down world, thousands of Iranians are celebrating the death of their brutal dictator who killed thousands of Iranians and hundreds of Americans, while American leftists are furious that he was killed. Make some sense of this. Thank you.
Here's one for V7 and for your records. Okay, so you use one of theirs. Good afternoon, council, everyone. My name is Yoli Diaz. I have provided you Dennis Knox financial assistance file that he had sent to me, which is 3 files, and also 6.5 section of indigent care and continuation of services from the asset purchase agreement and the 2004 MMC policy. Memorial Medical Center is currently facing several issues. Regarding the subject at hand, one significant problem is that Memorial Medical Center is using Doña Ana County's Resolution 2023-68 as their indigent policy. This may represent an update to their policy, potentially replacing the one mentioned in Section 6.5, Indigent Care Continuation of Services of the Asset Purchase Agreement, and the similar policy revised in year 2010. As of May 2016, Memorial Medical Center began incorporating information from Doña County Resolution 2014-69, a year 2014 resolution, into their 2016 policy, which MMC renamed CHAP. Notably, this policy also excluded cancer care and outpatient dialysis. Doña Ana County's resolution included a, quote, payer of last resort, end quote, clause, defining it as a situation where residents eligible for health coverage for the same type of care do not qualify for the Doña Ana County Healthcare Assistance Program, indigent program. This wording, in effect, actually excludes all residents, which Memorial Medical Center did. Currently, as confirmed by documents provided by Dennis Knox and available on the MMC website, as of today, March 2nd, 2026, Memorial Medical Center is directly using Resolution 2023-68, the current resolution, as its indigent care policy. This resolution also contains the same, quote, payer of last resort, end quote, language. Dennis Knox also shared a flow chart used by Memorial Medical Center's admissions department for screening residents. This flow chart asks, do you have health care coverage? If the answer is yes, no further screening is required. One consequence is that Memorial Medical Center has no financial assistance nor cost adjustments to insured indigent residents' medical bills, regardless of their indigency status. The 2004 MMC policy pertained to uninsured, underinsured, the indigent, and more. So Dennis Knox has informed all of us that MMC is using Doña Ana County's Resolution 2023-68 as their MMC indigent care policy, their workflow as their process, and they updated 815 policy. Was City of Las Cruces notified of the updates of both years 2023 and 2025? And did the City of Las Cruces get involved? Last statement, please allow it. Is City of Las Cruces involved now with Doña Ana County now that they are revising the Doña Ana County Indigent Care Resolution since city residents are affected? Thank you. Thank you for the extra seconds.
Good afternoon, City Council. My name is Lucas Harnan for the record. I am just here again today, as I said I would be 2 weeks ago, to continue advocating on behalf of the community that has spoken loudly about the things that we want to see in our community. I was heartened to hear about the elevator and hot water pool being fixed at some of our resources here. Those are the kinds of things that make a city, a home. When my daughter was little, we spent a lot of time at the aquatic center, and I have fond memories of getting to spend that time with her and take advantage of a shared resource that, part of my living here, I share with other community members and is provided on behalf of all of us. And it is that kind of environment that we can continue to advocate for with our tax dollars, with the collected revenue from the GRT, to create a space in our town that is welcoming, entertaining, and family-friendly. With recent world events, and especially the fiscal costs of those of what we see the federal government doing in foreign places around the world, I'm reminded of the statement that a budget is a moral document, that how we choose to spend our dollars is a reflection of our values. And so I think that what I want to just leave here once more saying, this community asked loudly last year when the question was asked, how would you like to engage with us, the city, on how we spend this revenue? And you all rose to the occasion and asked us to engage with you publicly at 6 separate meetings, and we did. And you gave us a really wonderful way to participate. Speaking of democracy, direct democracy into your districts. and you spoke with us, and I spoke with you there. Many of my friends spoke with you there. You had representatives from all of your departments. Those water guys need a raise, by the way. They were excellent advocates for their department. And across this city, in all 6 councils, in all 6 council districts, what people want was clearly voted on. And that information was presented to you in October of last year. So I know that you know that. I know that the staff knows that. The question remains why that wasn't reflected a month ago at the work session and the upcoming vote based on what we were presented. So I would just ask you to keep those things in mind as you get to that place. Thank you.
Hello, Liz Bennett, Public Health Social Worker. We just came out of a legislative session that failed to pass gun safety regulation and failed to pass meaningful reform for juvenile justice. During a media tour by our police chief, seemingly calling for harsher punishments for young people, we also heard sound bites mentioning the importance of evidence-based strategies like youth development and diversion, cognitive behavioral therapy, and early intervention in school settings. So where then is our city's commitment to investing in those evidence-based prevention strategies for the young people who have been put on blast for the last year? It is my understanding that the proposed police training facility could cost somewhere between $40 to $60 million, but we don't know exactly how much or what for because there isn't an official plan or detailed proposal in place. With this, in combination with the millions spent on the Real-Time Crime Center and the millions allocated from the state capital outlay for the police racetrack, I would be interested to see the comparison of amounts of dollars spent on community-based prevention versus police-initiated response. The $60 million for a police training facility alone is 3 times the annual budget for all of the Parks and Recreation Department. I understand that the city has made an effort to invest in community. The progress toward affordable housing development, outreach to the unhoused, feeding seniors, and providing after-school programs is key, and that effort is appreciated. However, business as usual feels like pennies on the dollar and is not enough to meet the moment we are in, particularly with our young people. If there's one thing that the police chief and I agree on, it is that collectively we are failing the next generation. We must invest in the expansion of services that meet young people where they are and offer hope for who they can become. I've often heard Chief Story described as someone who prioritizes evidence-based interventions, and the evidence is clear. Investing in the criminalization and incarceration of youth is investing in systems of harm that perpetuate crime and incarceration. Investing in culturally relevant, real-world, multi-systemic support and mentorship is what leads to recovery. The challenges our young people are facing require meaningful and long-term planning and long-term investment. For those of you interested in continuing this conversation, I would like to invite you to an event hosted by Dream.org and Unlock Civics NM happening this Friday from 5 to 9 p.m. at the Hood. The Public Health is Public Safety event is a community-centered gathering focused on connection, healing, and practical solutions that strengthen safety through care. This event brings together youth, families, organizers, and those directly impacted to explore how harm reduction, empathy, and shared responsibility can create safer, healthier neighborhoods. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is George Pearson, and I'm Vice President of Cruces, a bicycle pedestrian advocacy organization. At the last P&Z meeting, a master plan and preliminary plat was approved for the Soaring Eagle Heights subdivision. The proposed subdivision is located on the northern part of city limits in a little carve-out on the west side of Elks Drive in Council District 5. It is next to Vista Middle School and not far from Columbia Elementary School. The county, supported with state funding, has built a multi-use trail that extends from Doña to Columbia Elementary. There's still a small gap up to city limits that will hopefully be filled in the not too distant future. At the P&Z meeting, there was some discussion about the cross-section design for Elks Drive in front of the subdivision. It was pointed out that the county multi-use trail is nearby, and that with the middle and elementary schools nearby, there is an expectation of school-age pedestrians along Elks. Revisiting the Elks cross-section was voted down by P&Z with reasoning by commission members that the proposed cross-section meets design standards. This may be true, but it does not meet improving the quality of life for Las Cruces citizens. Realize has recommended cross-sections for various roadways, but these are minimum standards. Turns out the Elks cross-section was decided at the DRC with minutes showing only that a wider turn lane was recommended by staff. To me, this design promotes vehicle travel over pedestrian safety. New Mexico is #1 in per capita pedestrian fatalities, and getting us off the top of this horrible list is the duty not just of NMDOT, but also of all the local governments, including and especially Las Cruces. The city talks the talk about traffic safety and Vision Zero, but they do not seem to be walking the walk. Looks like the design is just creating an enforcement problem and not helping with design elements that would increase safety. What can we do to revisit the decision and approve a design that includes an extension of the multi-use trail along Elks Drive in front of this subdivision? This is a problematic area in solving the connectivity problem for bicyclists along Elks, but this is an opportunity that should be grabbed to help with traffic safety. Let's build a 21st century road that prioritizes safety over moving vehicles. Thank you. And since I have a moment left, there was a grand opening of the Elks Trail by the county and Safe Routes to School, and there's a great video that the county put together. You can find it either on the county's Facebook page or Safe Routes to School Facebook or the Villa Cruces Facebook page. So I would hope you take a look at that also. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Hurst. Glad I made it here in time for public comments. I was watching at home. I heard one of the speakers say that the protests and the participation of citizens in these hearing or in public opportunity or public comment opportunities were somehow inauthentic and that we were paid and all that sort of rot. It is simply not so. The protests in this town are authentic. Our appearance at school board is authentic. Our appearance at county commission and this body are authentic. Nobody's paid, nobody's bussed in. They want to pretend that all society's ills are the result of liberal intervention and that our policies created the world as it is. That simply is not the case. Liberals in local government have generally been the minority until recently. That's a matter of historical fact. We didn't bring segregation and all the social ills associated with that. We didn't create homelessness. We don't control the capital of this country. The wealth of this country is generally controlled by conservatives. Everybody knows that. Social policy is generally controlled by conservatives. Everybody knows that. The media is controlled by conservatives. Everybody knows that. The news is controlled by conservatives. Everybody knows that. Get over blaming liberals for the problems. We're just trying to correct them. As Billy Joel said, we didn't start the fire. Just because we're trying to fight it, we didn't light it. So stop this crap about us causing all the problems. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Chief of Police, Tim Jenkins. I would like to start by giving you all some heartbreaking statistics. We are just barely 60 days into 2026, and 8 police officers were killed in 1 week alone. 2 incidences here in New Mexico last week. 16 officers killed since January 1st. 67 officers ambushed, 22 officers shot in the line of duty, 19 officers stabbed. We are 2 months into the year, and there is a 65% increase nationwide in juvenile crime. This is not federal agents or immigration officials. This is local police fighting to protect their own communities. Behind every uniformed officer is a human being who has chosen a profession rooted in service, sacrifice, and responsibility. Supporting our officers is not, and I repeat, is not a political statement, but rather a community responsibility. Modern policing is more complex than ever, and our officers are held to the highest standard humanly possible. Officers don't only serve as law enforcers, but also as counselors, mediators, first responders, and crisis intervention specialists. They respond to mental health crisis, domestic disputes, traffic accidents, violent crimes, and community concerns, often all in the same shift. If we expect professionalism and compassion from our officers, then we must ensure they receive the resources and support necessary to perform at their best. Police safety is not solely the responsibility of law enforcement, but rather a partnership between city leadership, police departments, and the community. When City Council invests in our officers, it is investing in a safer and stronger city. Our officers deserve support, and our community deserves excellence. Many times in the last 2 weeks, while dealing with our officers, I've witnessed time and time again our officers choosing compassion over the rule of law. And that is what needs to be celebrated, encouraged, and strengthened. So let's help each other invest in what brings our community together rather than the things that divide us. We live in a world that feels so angry and divided, and a world where bad news travels at the speed of outrage. Can we please come together as a community and let each one of us be the change that we want to see? And remember that our officers are husbands and wives and parents and children of our very own community that deserve a safe place, peaceful place, just as much as we do. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is read a closed meeting statement. The Las Cruces City Council met in closed meeting on March 2nd, 2026 at 11:01 a.m. The following were in attendance: Mayor Enriquez, Councilor McClure, Councilor Harris, Councilor Bencomo, Councilor Coran, Councilor Munoz, City Manager Icani Tamopayao, Police Chief Jeremy Story, City Attorney Brad Douglas, City Clerk Christine Rivera, Outside Counsel Luis Robles. We're to discuss the pending litigation regarding Paulette A.Z. and Pamela A.Z. Silvestra as personnel representatives of the estate of Presley A.Z. versus City of Las Cruces, which is closed pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 1978, Section 10-15-1H7. Chief Story and Luis Robles left at 12:03. Entering were Interim Assistant City Manager David Cedillo and Community Development Director Chris Favor at 12:03 p.m. to discuss the purchase, acquisition, or disposal of real property or water rights by the public body, which is closed pursuant to New Mexico State Statute 1978, Section 10-15-1H8. The meeting adjourned at 12:30 p.m. Next, I'll have a motion for acceptance of agenda.
Move to accept.
Second.
This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Counselor Coran?
Yes.
Counselor Munoz?
Yes.
And Mayor.
Yes. So we will start out with item 8.1. A public hearing is required. So the public hearing is now open at 1:51 PM. Is there anyone here for or against the issuance of this liquor license? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed at 1:51 PM. The resolution number 26-107, a resolution approving the request for a transfer of location of Canopy liquor license, package sales only, BW gas and convenience retails located at 4805 Mesa Grande Drive.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor. Adam Ochoa, Community Development for the record. Before you, we have a liquor license for the proposed, the currently under construction all subs number 102507 located at 4805 East Mesa, excuse me. Yeah, 4805 Mesa Grande Drive, there we go. Pursuant to New Mexico State statute, an application has been submitted for approval of a transfer of location of a Canopy liquor license, number DIS 000868, with package sales only for the all subs 102507. The Alcoholic Beverage Control Division of the state did send preliminary approval to the city of Las Cruces on January 6th of this year. Staff did require an extension. That extension was approved by the state in order to hear this liquor license hearing today. Reviewing staff saw no issues with the proposed application other than one issue, which is a distance requirement. Per requirements, there is a required 300-foot distance required for a liquor establishment to a school campus. The Oregon Mountain High School is actually approximately 264 feet. That is measured from property line to property line. Council may grant a waiver to this requirement to allow the business within 300 feet of the school. Council may use traditional guidelines such as, health, safety, welfare issues that may come up as a way for you to do your decision. Voting yes will approve the liquor license and the associated waiver. Shown here, the subject property right on the, I guess it'd be the northwest corner of Baton Memorial and Mesa Grande. The school in question's on the opposite side, on the south side of Baton Memorial. So with that, council, your options are 1 to vote yes and approve the proposed liquor license and associated waiver, 2 to vote and deny. That is the conclusion of my presentation, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions? Councilor Harris?
Thanks, Mayor. Does the Maverick that's on the other corner have a liquor license, or are they trying to get one?
Councilor Harris, Mayor, no, they do not have one, sir. They do not have a liquor license.
Okay, thanks. That's all.
All right, seeing no other, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-107. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
No.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Counselor Coran?
Yes.
Counselor Munoz?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next is item 8.2, Resolution 26-108, a resolution to approve the submission of a grant application to the New Mexico Department of Transportation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, staff, and public. My name is Crystal Silva with the Grants Administration Program. Today, I am bringing forth a resolution to approve the submission of a grant application to the New Mexico Department of Transportation's Municipal Arterial Program for the Public Works Department. The New Mexico Department of Transportation is soliciting applications for the Municipal Arterial Program, or MAP. The purpose of the MAP program is to assist municipalities in project development. The intersections of West Amador Avenue and McSwain Drive have been identified to undergo improvements. These improvements will provide pedestrians with an improved and protected multi-lane crossing point by stopping busy vehicular traffic along West Amador Avenue, allowing pedestrians to cross safely. The city has estimated construction and design for the project to be $984,100, with a $584,100 amount having been funded with a New Mexico capital outlay grant that was received in fiscal year 26. This year, the city is requesting $300,000 from NMDOT, with the city contributing the required match of $100,000 for an application total of $400,000. NMDOT does require a resolution of approval in order to apply for this MAP funding. With the map on the screen, these improvements are a continuation of city initiatives to increase pedestrian safety along the West Amador Avenue corridor. The corridor directly serves the community of Hope, Camp Hope, Amador Crossing, the Las Cruces Gospel Rescue Mission, and multiple nonprofit service providers. These destinations generate consistent daily pedestrian activity across Amador Avenue. Funding through this NMDOT grant is critical to advance implementation of the Hawk pedestrian hybrid beacon. The Hawk signal provides a cost-effective, proven safety countermeasure that significantly reduces pedestrian crash risk while maintaining vehicular mobility on this major arterial. Before you are your council options, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Crystal. Councilor Curran?
Thank you. Thank you for presenting this. And I appreciate the opportunity to vote on this, and I also appreciate, I just want to sort of give a shout out when we have all of these infrastructure conversations. I do feel like sometimes we are not necessarily paying attention to how much things cost, but this is a Hawk signal, which I think of as like kind of, I don't want to say it's not very much, but it's not like we're redesigning this road. This road is what it is. It will change pedestrian safety, and it costs about $1 million. I think from the initial thing, it looks like it costs $500,000, but there is a lot of money behind it. And so I think for me, part of what I'm going to spend some time like sort of in conversation, and since there are a bunch of students here from NMSU, is sort of talking about like how much things cost in the world today, and so that's really, bear with me while I point out. This is $1 million for one pedestrian crossing. We wish that we had 400 of these, right, in the city, probably. We would all ask for some kind of pedestrian intervention in a number of places. And I say this because my district is getting a new traffic signal that's $1.5 million. So I say all of this to say, just as a note, stuff costs a lot of money, if you didn't know. And we're trying to figure out constantly how to balance things like people's safety, different types of income, and or different types of city income, like in this case grants, DOT, state capital outlay, and our own GRT money or tax money that we use to match all of this. So, of course, more of a comment than a question, like all politicians do all the time, but I just think it's really telling that this costs $1 million-ish, and in my mind, it should be cheap. Is I guess what I say and that I wish. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Harris?
Thanks, Mayor. On slide 2, this is a silly question, maybe. What does HAWK stand for? Everyone else in the room.
I actually have that in my other documents, but if I'm able to refer to Public Works, I would appreciate it.
Good afternoon. As Interim Assistant Public Works Director Jimmy Moreno for the record. Mayor Councilor Harris, Hawk is a high-intensity crosswalk activation signal. So it's a signal that is activated by pedestrians. Right. That way it's only in use during times of high pedestrian activity and can be activated to stop traffic.
All right, thanks. Yeah, my comment is I drive that road every day, and having a signal for that crossing would be amazing. So it's great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilor Bencomo.
Thank you. Jimmy, since you're up here, and well, either of you, I'm assuming Jimmy though, can you give us a timeline for the project?
Sure. Mayor, Councilor Bencomo, this project actually just started design. So this will finish late winter, the design, and hopefully construction in the beginning of the calendar year.
Councilor Matisse.
Yeah, Jimmy, do we have a Hawk pedestrian crossing in Las Cruces already? Is there one sample?
Yes, Mayor, Councilor Matisse, currently University has a Hawk system in place, currently activated and in use.
And West Picacho.
Yes, in addition, West Picacho.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bencomo.
And isn't there one on Roadrunner across from Veterans?
That one is not that's
okay.
a beacon, but however, excuse me, Mayor, that's a beacon, however, it's not a Hawk system. You can't activate it by pedestrians.
Okay, thanks. I didn't see it. We good? I see Mr. Pearson. Yeah, I'll take public comments. I'll give you 2 minutes.
Thank you, George Pearson. These questions might be addressed later during the design, but I'll ask them now. If the location of the Hawk system is going to be aligned with the multi-use trail that exists in that general area, and also if a pedestrian refuge would be part of the process. And my final question is not directly related to this, but the roadway segment, if a speed limit change reduction is being considered for this segment of roadway, because the posted speed, I believe, is 40 miles an hour, which is really not conducive to pedestrian travel. Thank you.
Tim Jenkins for the record. I travel this road hundreds of times a week. The supply house that I use is on Amador with Nilsson. And when I travel that road, I'm going to say that there probably 1% of the people crossing that road use the crosswalk that's there. To me, it's hard to justify $1 million for what we have doesn't ever even get used as is right now. Just so you guys know, it's hard for me. We have to slam on our brakes all the time because the crosswalk isn't used. So it's hard to justify spending $1 million on what we have doesn't get used already. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no other comments, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-108. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Harris?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Corran?
Yes.
Councilor Munoz?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 8.3, resolution number 26-109, resolution authorizing an amendment adding $10,000 to the contract for film economic development services with Film Las Cruces.
Move to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, City staff. My name is Alicia Hernandez.
Purchasing Manager for the Financial Services Department. Before you today is a resolution to authorize an amendment to our contract for Film Economic Development Services. Currently, Film Las Cruces is the only firm dedicated to the development and growth of the film industry specific to Las Cruces and the surrounding area. For the past 10 years, Film Las Cruces has cultivated and sustained relationships with an array of film industry firms and personnel, and that has been a contributing factor in the attraction of film production to Las Cruces. Through promotion, film permitting, workforce development, local vendor support, and marketing services, Film Las Cruces has created opportunities for film and media production in the Las Cruces area that has provided employment for residents, generated revenue, bolstered local businesses, and increased use of otherwise unused and underutilized facilities. On April 25th, 2024, in accordance with Las Cruces Municipal Code 24-7, a sole source determination was approved with Film Las Cruces in relation to Film Economic Development Services. Contract number 23-24-098 was executed on June 27th, 2024 for a term of 2 years through June 30th, 2026, in an amount not to exceed $95,000 plus applicable taxes annually, subject to approved budget appropriations. Economic Development is requesting authorization to increase the spending limit of the contract for the final year of the agreement, adding $10,000 for a new amount not to exceed $105,000 plus applicable taxes annually, subject to approved budget appropriations. These funds may be used to support a marketing and promotional campaign, including advertising with Movie Maker magazine in an amount not to exceed $8,000, and participation by Film Las Cruces at the American Film Market in Los Angeles in an amount not to exceed $2,000. Before you are your options, and we have staff from Film Las Cruces, as well as Elizabeth Teeters from Economic Development, and myself for questions if you have any.
All right, thank you, Alicia. Any questions? Councilor Harris?
Thanks, Mayor. Do you have an estimate on the return that you expect to see from this advertising campaign? Tangible or non-tangible?
I would have to refer to Elizabeth Teeters on that.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. Sorry to do this, but I'm going to refer to Andrew from Film Las Cruces.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Yes, the returns that we're trying to get is we're trying to bring more productions here, and the easiest way to do that.
Sorry, Andrew, could you state your name for the record?
Oh, sorry, yes. Andrew with Film Las Cruces, Andrew Jara with Film Las Cruces. Mr. Mayor, City Council. The returns that we're trying to get is to get productions here. We have already had success at similar events. We went to an Albuquerque media event and we were able to bring 2 productions. And so it's similar, the AFM event that we wanted to attend is a collection of producers and industry makers that can make those decisions to come to Las Cruces. And so we were just trying to make sure that we could be in those meetings and have those conversations.
Okay, thanks.
Councilor Matisse?
No, I just wanted to thank Councilor Harris for considering ROI. I think it's very important that everything we do, has some type of good return of investment. So, but this is more on recruiting people. Is this recruiting advisors and special people that will actually get more production here? Is that what this is for?
Mr. Mayor, City Council, yes, in a way. So what we're trying to do is not necessarily advisors, but the people who are bringing production. Those are the producers. So a lot of times, right, for example, when we have a production in town, they are trying to hire locals as much as possible, but the productions that are bringing in are usually from out of town, the producers, directors, and everything like that. So what we do is we try to make sure that they're steering their eyes towards Las Cruces so that they know that we are viable for filming, that we are film friendly, and so giving them that information, and so that they can make those decisions to come here.
What kind of process or show or How do you do that? How do you present what we do as Film Las Cruces for these folks that come? Do they come individually, or do you have a joint meeting of many of them?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, City Council. It's mostly individual meetings. Sometimes there are group meetings. We have, for example, sometimes we'll reach out to production companies and try to pitch the whole company. A lot of times we're trying to reach out to individual producers with individual projects and get them to come here. The thing about film is that it kind of works in projects. Like, for example, there is a movie in town. They will work that movie, they'll open offices, they'll bring in some of their crew, they'll hire others, and then once they're done filming, they usually go back to wherever they are and finish the film. And so what we're trying to do is let them know that they can come here. The way we do that is, we have meetings, we let them know that we're film friendly, we talk about how we can do permits, we talk about how we have the infrastructure, but another thing is that we will create location packages for them. So a location package is when you write a script, you're going to have where the script takes place. And so a lot of times we had a film that took place in, right now we have a film that might take place, overseas or in a different country. Mexico is a big popular one. And so we kind of find those locations in Las Cruces that could fit that, those locations. If it's a gas station, we show them all the gas stations we have here. And so this way, once they come here, they know that all the locations that they're looking for are available in Las Cruces, and it kind of gives them a head start as to where they can begin.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Mr. Mayor, City Councilors, Andrew, I love the work that you and your team have produced over the years. Really good, successful track record. So I'm still trying to understand. So the net that you're going to cast, is that local, regional, national, where you kind of walk through the process, but what's your target audience?
So, and that's one of the things about film is that it's kind of hard to figure out how to market it because we're marketing Las Cruces, but we're not marketing Las Cruces to Las Crucens. We're marketing them to people in LA, to people in New York, all over the country and all over the world. Last year, we even had a production from Finland come in and we helped them. So it's really about trying to let as many people who are making films or are in the film industry know about Las Cruces and know that not only do we have the locations, not only do we have the infrastructure, but we can help them with permits, we can help them with crew. And so it's just letting them, making them aware, and of course our state incentives, which is very competitive. So it's letting them know all about that.
Got you. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, Andrew, I'd like to say we're very supportive of the film industry, the excitement, the tourism, the economic value. We talk about ROI, we talk about our students at NMSU and all that, and it's very promising and good. But what do you have going on right now? What is it that's going on right now in Las Cruces that is taking place with film?
So yes, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Yes, it's been a very exciting, honestly, last 2 years. Since last year from about January, we've had production every single month in one way or another, whether it's pre-production or actual production. So there's been film in town the entire year. That was one of our first goals to make here at Film Las Cruces, so it's very good to have that. Since then, like I said, the calls have grown have increased of people wanting to bring it in, and we've also had productions raise, obviously. Even right now, we have 3 productions in town right now that are trying to film, and another one that is on the way within the month. So like I said, we're very busy right now, and on top of that, we've also had infrastructure grow. We've had a prop house that opened in the last few years, and this year they've decided that they needed more room because they are so busy, and they have expanded, and so just those kind of infrastructures, the crew base has grown exponentially, and even like being able to use some of the different buildings and stuff here. So, yes.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for that. Seeing no other questions, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-109. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Harris?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Munoz?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 8.4, resolution number 26-110, a resolution authorizing a purchase agreement for Medicaid ambulance reporting with Public Consulting Group.
Move to approve.
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councilors, City staff. My name is Virginia Varela, Buyer 2 with the Financial Services Department. And before you today is a resolution requesting authorization to enter into agreement for ambulance reporting services. The City of Las Cruces Fire Department provides emergency medical response services for the City of Las Cruces for transportation and treatment, which could include immediate care to the ill and injured patients, life-saving care, and relief of medical systems. In calendar year 2024, the Las Cruces Fire Department provided 3,852 transports at an estimated cost of $3,415.53 per transport, for a total estimated cost of $13,156,609.33. 71.66% of the actual cost for providing these ambulance services to persons participating in Medicaid may be supplemented if the Las Cruces Fire Department participates in programs available through the Ground Emergency Medical Transportation or New Mexico Emergency Ground Ambulance Services programs. The city requires assistance in compiling the data for eligible transports, preparing reports, and submitting to the agencies to receive reimbursement up to the 71.66% per eligible transportation. In August 19th, 2024, Resolution 25-018 was approved, which allowed the city to enter into an agreement with Public Consulting Group, LLC of Boston, Massachusetts. And this agreement allowed PCG to put together a metric in order to compile all this data, to isolate the transportations that were eligible because they qualified under these two programs, prepare the reports, send them off to the agency so we can receive the reimbursements for the eligible transports. They ensured that the collection of all data, the preparation of all reports were in alignment with the Health Improvement, Portability, and Accountability Act, as well as the Health Information Technology for Economic and Clinical Health Act, as well as all state and federal statutes and regulations regarding the compiling of this data and reporting. Las Cruces Municipal Code, Chapter 24-7, allows the city to enter into a sole source agreement when a sole source determination has been made. So at this time, the Las Cruces Fire Department is requesting to enter into an agreement with PCG to replace the one that has just expired, to be effective through December 31st, 2028. The terms of these agreements is that PCG will be paid 15% of whatever reimbursement is collected by the programs. And the annual not to exceed amount will be $600,000. Before you are your options, and I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Councilor Corinne.
I was just wondering if you could go back to the slide that talks about the cost that's like 13 million-ish. So this is how much, this is for 1 year?
I will defer to Chief Daniels, but I believe this reporting is just for calendar year 2024.
Mike Daniels, Fire Chief. for the record. Mayor, Councilor Curran, that's correct. That is what would be the estimated cost for a calendar year associated with transports at full rate. That takes into account salaries, benefits, depreciation of apparatus, the cost of fuel. Every aspect of that transport is what that's taking a look at.
Okay, thank you. And then we're hoping to go after 71% reimbursement of that, which is like, I guess, 9 million-ish.
Mayor, Councilor Curran, not quite.
Okay.
What this program does is we share in essence, through the state healthcare authority, there is a cost associated with that. The state takes their portion first, and then at that point, the MCOs distribute the remainder to us. This year, it's been just over $2.2 million for calendar year 24. It's right around 2.3 million for calendar year 24. When we get our funds is what we would, and then we pay 15% off our net collected revenue. So 13 million. We've been able to collect about 2 million. That's what we receive there.
Okay.
And a lot of it's based on what's reimbursed by Medicaid. That's what the consultant is really hired for, is to look in and try to maximize our collectible revenue under the program. This is when we had work session in July. We talked about the Medicaid reimbursement program. That's this program. So as our transport volumes increase, we could, in a couple years, expect to see those numbers increase significantly. Because we transported 3,852. Last calendar year was just over 4,000 times we transported. We're expecting to see about 12,000 transports this year, between 11 and 12,000 this year. So, but these are generally calculated a year to two back. So
That's, I guess, you are segueing perfectly into the question that I had, which is $600,000 doesn't seem like, that seems like we're putting a cap on it. Like, I don't want them to be like, oh, we're not doing the paperwork anymore, and then we leave money on the table, I guess, would be the thing that I would worry about. That's why I was getting at that question. So it sounds like it's enough for now, given that reimbursable rate, but we might need to change it in the future.
Mayor, Councilor Curran, I would guess that in 3 years, we'll be seeing different numbers. So at the termination of this contract, this is enough to get us through the combined calendar year 24 and 25, which we expect to see potentially the latter part of this fiscal year. And then calendar year 26 should align well with this. But in 2028, you're correct. I would believe that this could be lower than what we would need.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I was just thinking that seemed like not very much money in this round table. So given all of those things, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mayor and Councilor Cran, to also add into that, if we do get into a situation where we're still in the term of the agreement and we see that we're coming close to that capping limit and we feel that we are going to exceed it, we would come back to council to request an amendment and give the justification for that for approval.
Councilor Harris.
Thanks, Mayor. First, I very much appreciate you spelling out the acronyms for everybody. And then I was also curious about the costs, so that's been answered. Just out of curiosity, are there any plans to be able to bring in staff to submit these reports in-house, in the far future, or is this something that's really best left to consultants who help with this nationwide?
Mayor, Councilor Harris, right now, I don't know that we have the staff, or in New Mexico, we just started collecting this year, so we don't entirely know the entire framework as well. I don't think anybody in the state does. So every one of the providers currently in New Mexico is contracting with PCG. I think we're up to 13 providers now that are are now, this is what they specialize in, is NME gas and rural healthcare transformation funding opportunities. So right now, I would say no. I'm not entirely sure what it would look like for us to build that capacity. And also, it's a small portion. It's not all the time. So I'm not sure we would justify an FTE through this. It's somewhat cleaner just to continue that. At least for now, that's my recommendation until we understand more about the system.
Okay, yeah, that sounds fair, and I'm glad to hear that we're kind of pooling with the other municipalities and other providers throughout the state to get value out of this service. So that's it. Thanks.
Okay, seeing none other, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 26-110. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Harris?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Counselor Coran?
Yes.
Counselor Munoz?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is board appointments. We have none. Notice of proposed ordinances, none. City council member board reports and comments. Councilor McClure?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to give a quick shout out to specifically Akani, who, when I asked him, hey, is there a way for us to be innovative with active transportation, to find a solution that might work, especially given the situation at the city. And now we have a active transportation team. I'm hoping not to steal his thunder by announcing this, but I also hope that they could be willing to present, much like in the department news that we had today. That would be great. See where they're going first. As they're going, it would be really interesting to see how that's happening. I was also going to say, for the Juvenile Justice Board, our Continuum, we need board members, and I'm going to be sending a whole lot of emails to people to poke them into wanting to be a board member, because we can't exist as a continuum without board members. So we're looking for social service agency representatives, youth serving agencies, business community, so people in the business community might get an email from me, religious organizations, youth and families, people who want to actually do some investigation. So what does the board do? Analyze local trends that put youth at risk, assess community resource gaps. So if you have any curiosity, for every month, we're going to be moving to once a month meetings to talk about what kind of gaps in the local community. Please reach out to me. I am the chair of the board, Continuum, and we're going to be getting a coordinator here soon, and that's going to propel us to kind of make some changes and do some programming that should be really helpful for the future. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Matisse?
Yeah, I have a few things, Mayor. Thank you. I just want to start by saying I really enjoyed spending Saturday in tree planting. I want to thank Cassie for reminding me and making sure I go. But it was Hill Rise in District 2, and we did a neighborhood. I think 100 trees were donated, and 71 trees were planted. At my young age, I was able to do about 4 or 5 plantings in that heat. And then I said, thank you very much, and went home. But it's quite a program. And all the neighbors that received the trees were very complimentary of the program and the city and the volunteers that showed up from, I believe, the 4-H club. I just want to thank everyone. The other thing I want to mention is I received some information from the French brothers, and maybe Natalie Green would like to, since she might have it already, but they're building new homes costing $190,000. That's quite what we are building for affordable housing sometimes costs $350,000 to $380,000. Maybe we should get together with the French brothers and consider purchasing some of these homes at $190,000. That would be a 2-for-1 a 2-for-1 advantage. I'd like to say thank you to Johnny Andazola. The malpractice reform passed, and it was really great to watch common sense intelligence overcome stupidity. Kudos to so many legislators and the patient Primero and the Doña Ana Medical Society. What an accomplishment in Santa Fe this year. The NMDA, it's National FFA Week. I just wanted to mention that. These are growing the future of agriculture. There's also a Tortugas Pueblo that's having a enchilada sale. They're 200 years older, again in my district. Tickets are $12, but if you have time, March 8th, the event will be held at Our Lady of Guadalupe Parish, the parish hall. So if you could attend that, eat some enchiladas, and you'll be helping the Tortugas Pueblo. Last but not least, I have to mention it. I received I believe it was 77-page FY24 Amador Hospitality lease agreement, and all that went on to not get the payment, the fees, the utility bills, and things like that from the Amador Hospitality lease. I just like to know, maybe from the city manager, I have a lot of questions. Who do I refer those to get some answers? I received this late last week, and I did have time to go through the 77 pages, and I have a lot of questions. I just need to know who to direct it to. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Councilor Matisse, Ikane Tamapea, City Manager. You can refer those questions to me, Brad Douglas, or Viola, and we'll get them to the appropriate parties. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a lot of time?
I always for you,
Okay.
Councilor, always for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Harris.
Thanks, Mayor. I have a handful of things too. I'd also like to thank our legislators this last session. We got a lot of the things that we asked for as a city in terms of capital outlay and other programs. And a lot of those have fully funded or partially funded a lot of the items that we'd wanted to do with GRT money and GO bond money. So, you know, when some of those things disappear from the list, sometimes it's for a good reason, because they've been funded other ways. So, you know, looking forward to the next work session that we have on the GRT priorities to really kind of flesh that out and make sure that we're getting what the community wants. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is, I was glad somebody brought up Elks. When we are looking at funding these projects and doing roadworks, to really, you know, look carefully at the cross sections that we're building and make sure that we're prioritizing safety over speed and throughput. You know, Elks isn't in my district, but I grew up in the area, and that street is awful. From anybody who looks at it from the outside, from the people who live on it. It's not safe for pedestrians, it's not safe for drivers, it's a racetrack, and it's like that because it was designed like that. There's two school crossings, and lots of kids live on that street, and you know, we just need to, I think very carefully about the kinds of infrastructure that we're building and try and prioritize safety of people. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Bencomo.
Thanks, Mayor. Just really briefly want to thank the students from NMSU for coming and spending the afternoon with us. I'm also an alumni of the government department at NMSU, so I love to see other young folks engaged and involved. And certainly, you know, Professor, you talked about how you were coming here to see people do democracy in a different way. Perhaps you didn't necessarily get that fully, but we certainly try our best here. And I think local politics and local government is, frankly, my favorite kind of government, because it feels like a laboratory for positive change and for us to really try things that lift up the most vulnerable in our community. So it's great to have you all here. I hope you come back and certainly stay in touch with us. I don't have a lot today. I did want to request that, thankfully we have folks like Mr. George Pearson who remind us of this often, but there was a couple of months ago, we had asked for a work session on active transportation, and I don't, we haven't gone that yet, and I do think it's an important conversation for us, as you kindly said, not to just talk the talk, but walk the walk, and have a serious conversation about the pedestrian safety crisis that we have in the city. So thank you for that reminder, George, and I would like us to continue thinking about having that work session come to council soon. So thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Corinne.
Thank you, and yes, thank you all for coming and sitting it out. It's good to see you. I didn't know that it would be this fast. I would have made the pitch that you stay the whole time if I had known we were going to be so quick and efficient. So thank you for coming. Again, please, if you need anything, please reach out. We are here to help and love to hear from people in our community. So I also don't have a lot except my community meeting is coming up next Tuesday evening, and it is going to be for District 5, it's at Highland Elementary, which is just off of the frontage road on Emerald. It is focused on safe streets in particular. It starts at 6 p.m. Departments that will be there include, sorry, I'm just opening this little document. It will include Public Works, Community Development, Police Traffic, Speed, and Safety folks, and MPO with their latest hot off the presses safety and accident-related traffic data. So there will also be an opportunity for people who are there. In particular, this is aimed at residents of District 5, but I'm sure everyone is always welcome to engage with those departments and see what the plans are for the future of safe streets and all of the things that everyone highlighted, and I think is really important to us to keep moving forward in that way. So Highland Elementary School, March 10th at 6 p.m. So I'll see you there.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank Chief Daniels and the fire department. Councilor Harris and I did a tour and visited all the firehouses, got to meet the incredible men and women of the fire department, got to see some of our facilities and some of the work we need to do with them. So definitely that was important as well. The fire chief does have openings, so if you have friends and family or yourself are interested, please apply. Secondly, I want to go back to the legislature. Short session, but there were some productive things that came out of the session. Still some more work to do. But again, I go back to thanking the department heads, our city manager, Christine, our city clerk, for organizing our advocacy or lobbying efforts in Santa Fe, where I think as a city, we did well this session. Also, thank you to the city team, again, who supported me in my community district meeting. Very positive feedback from our residents, some good action items, and I appreciate your attending that with me and taking time away from your family. Then also shout out and thank you for the students that are here. Appreciate you all. I think this next week or two, Councilor Bencomo and Councilor Graham and I will listen to the New America students who have a readout. They spent some time with us, actually spent, 3 or 4 hours or maybe 5 with us in our special session. And so we are very, very curious to hear from their perspective what they thought of the session, what they have input on. And my final piece, on that, which segues, I'm working with some counselors here, Councilor McClure, on the Youth Advisory Council that we would like to eventually launch, or Youth Congress. And so I would like to plant that seed with our students here from NMSU as well. Would like to expose our young adults who are not our future, but are now, to how civics, how government works, and would love to hear your input. Thank you, Mayor.
Just a couple of things, but Dr. Sabina Hirschauer, students, thank you for being here. Thank you for attending. Did I say your name right? Yeah, okay. It's a tough one, but thank you. All right. Now, thank you all for being here. And shout out to Carol, the Munson Center, Quality of Life, the addition that took place last week, Public Works for all their work and input, so that the seniors can have a place for physical fitness and other activities that will take place. Long needed, it was long awaited, and they were so happy and thrilled and excited. It was great to show up. Councilor McClure, thank you for being there, and just want to give a shout out for the Munson Center and their addition. Also today was Dr. Seuss Day. Read Across America at 9 a.m. Everyone was to read in school, stop everything they were doing and start reading. I got to go to a charter school and read to the 3rd grade, 4th grade, and 5th grade. So, you know, those are some of the things that we can do for our community and instill that for our kids to be active and to read and to get educated. So that's all I had for today, and just want to turn it over to our city manager now.
Thank you, Mayor Enriquez. Icano Tamaulipas City Manager, Mayor Pro Tem Munoz, and city councilors. Just a few announcements, and then I'll let you on your way. On the active transportation coordinator, I must say that was all staff. Kudos to David Cedillo and to staff for being creative and strategic. They stepped up to the challenge and figured it out. And just an update from that. Oscar Guerrero is a PE and will be the prime point of contact. And all this to say, on May 11th, we'll have a work session and we'll come with more information, and then we'll also work on having this before May, announced with the appropriate staff before May. But Oscar Guerrero is a PE and is the POC supervised by Vanessa Morales Romero, who's also a PE, and supported by additional engineering staff, Jeremy Barella. He has an EI and is a previous rep to BPAC. So Natasha Billy is a PE who's also supporting, and Kyle Arend, another PE. So there's a lot of PEs helping out with the active transportation coordinator. So that's always great news, a lot of experience there. The combined team will work directly with partners in the community, and especially our departments as well, to ensure that all active transportation matters are considered, and we're moving forward with those. Also, City Clerk, this is kudos. So Christine, please raise your hand, Christine. Please, you want to do a dance, Christine? We'll save that for later. But Christine received her Masters of Municipal Clerk certification 2 weeks ago. Can we get a round of applause for her? So that took her 10 years to do. This isn't easy, and honestly, if you asked any other clerk in the nation who has their MMC, which stands for Master of Municipal Clerk, most will say they don't because it's hard to get. So this took Christine 10 years. It's a 10-year endeavor. There's a lot of requirements needed. So for all you government students, if you're looking to be city clerk and you want to be an MMC, come talk to Christine. She knows. It took her 10 years to do. But that's because she wasn't just sitting around doing agenda packets all day. She's active, doing other stuff. And so we appreciate that. Again, she needed to go to conference. There was classes that needed to be enrolled. She needed to teach. She needed to be on panels. There's a lot to go into. So we appreciate your work is reflected amongst that. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Christine. Moving on, just wanted to make an announcement. Appreciate the work that Richard Hanaway, Sonia working closely with Transit. And Transit has 6 new EV buses that are adding to the circulation, which makes it a total of 11 total EV fleet, and out of 20 total. But we just wanted to say thank you to our transit department making it happen. Thank you to City Council for your support. We get grants to get these EV buses, but there's always a match, and so we appreciate it. It's not easy to purchase and then maintain and then keep these going and to drive themselves and to fix them. So we appreciate the transit making that happen. So thank you. Look for that later in March for the 6 new arrivals to come, so you'll see them in circulation. The timeline GRT, for those who are interested to come and be heard, the opportunity to come and speak to that, obviously you can use public comments, but we'll have the first resolution on March 16th, and then really the main discussion for GRT projects, if you're interested, will happen on April 6th. And then the second read and approval of the ordinance will happen on April 20th. So April 6th is really, we're hoping to have a lot of the discussion and decisions made by then. But again, for anyone in earshot, to our government students who are looking for a great discussion, this is a $28 million that has to be spent, and City Council is going to decide and listen to public comments, and that decision hopefully will be made on April 6th. So come out and see what happens with those appropriations. And then last but not least, just to echo some of the councilors, legislative session went well. We had about 14 million from legislators and about 19 million when you include the grants. It was a great session, and I don't want to take too much from the work session that'll happen at the end of April. But Christine will give a work session and give an update. So the governor has all the appropriations on her desk right now, and she has about 30 days to approve them. And then we'll come bring them to you, council, make sure that you understand what makes it on the list and answer any questions then. And we can pivot if we need and talk about and assess and review. That's all for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Connie. I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
This is on the motion to adjourn the meeting. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Harris?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Coran?
Yes.
Councilor Munoz?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.